My life is a party, my home is the club. Hey everyone, how's it going? It is I, the real Randy Chavez, coming at you today with a VeVe OMI update video. Guys, if you're new, welcome. For not, welcome back. I love y'all. Everyone say hello to Dashi. Commenting, liking, and subscribing is a free way to help support the channel. Non-free ways are Patreon and smashing that super thanks button down below. Super chats as well. I'll go through as much of the news as I can before Mr. MC1 gets here, and then we'll go over what deal we just did, why we're doing it, why we, oh, actually, speak of the devil, and they shall appear. Howdy. Oh,
Randy, how you doing, brother? Give me a minute.
I'm doing well. I see you got a little wine. Very nice.
Yeah, brother, we're celebrating today, right? So
yes,
we got to have some. Perfect. Thank you.
This is so cool.
How you doing, Randy? Today's a special day. Let me just fix the camera a little bit here.
I feel like one of those memes where the person takes a picture of the person across from them and be like, oh, look at my date. He's so cute. I'm nervous. What do I do?
All right, there you go. Randy, so how do you feel about this whole... By the way, do you have something to drink over there, or what's going on?
So yesterday, when I went to the gym and weighed myself after having like a 3-month-ish workcation, I was 209, which is the heaviest I've ever been. And I cutting alcohol, I cut carbs, I cut, today was the last day I was ever able to have cheese. So now it's no alcohol, no carbs, no cheese. It's just meat, veggies, and protein shake. So I just have water. Yeah, I can't break it 2 days into the diet.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to open up a bottle of wine. Today's a good day to open up a bottle of wine, so.
That sounds great. So, I guess we should get into the whys. I know obviously we had like 600 people watching, so there was a little bit of peer pressure. There was a little bit of like the wow factor, like, oh my God, they did it. That's why I always like to have my relationships like announcing like on Facebook, announcing on it, because so everyone's like, oh my God, no way, you guys are together. I love that. That's part of the reason I get into relationships. But for this, so I know that's likely why we had both agreed on this price. Where I want a little higher, you obviously want a little lower, and we agreed to maybe things we might not have agreed of if we were, discussing this, for X amount of weeks.
Yeah.
But when we put each other on the spot, when I immediately thought of it, I was like, okay, what's going to be the annual recurring revenue for this particular deal? And now obviously we have just the one contract, which is 10,000 for 10%. So the Real Randy Chavez YouTube channel is valued at 100,000, but that's before we add in all the future revenues that I think you're likely to get me, and we can share in these over the next months or years. And I think part of that is going to be like I said on stream, I only ever did one sponsored video. It was from Epico. And because they were a legit company, or they are a legit company, they actually do have a partnership with Ecomi. And I've known Ben for a while anyway. But I think with you and your connections, you likely, because you send so many boards, you have so many different people, that you could likely go on and say like, hey, I know this person, and you could, talk about the numbers in a truthful way, but also talking it up. In the tens of thousands of followers between YouTube and X, and he's connected to many well. And it's not so much that it's the tens of thousands of followers between X and YouTube. I think a lot of it would be, oh, hey, he's in charge of this fund. He has a lot of whales that follow him. And so I think that you'd probably be able to get some people or some companies like, go on this person's channel, be a sponsor for a week or however much on this channel. And now obviously that'd be good for you as well, because you get that 10%. But then as the channel grows and the revenues start coming in more and more, that 10% of yours will obviously grow, and one day possibly be bought out, at least a fraction of a percent.
Sure.
So that is a large thing of what is that a glass?
This is not a glass, this is a decanter. So was going to tell you, Randy, today's a special day. So I've opened up a bottle of, let me pull it up here. So this bottle is a Chateau Julien from Monterey, and it's a 1997 vintage. So it's the year that I came to the US with nothing, man. Actually borrowed money. So this bottle is about 27 years old.
Wow.
It's how long I've lived in the US, and I've kept this bottle. I used to live in Monterey, and I bought this bottle from a vineyard. I walked into this vineyard once, and I Chateau Julien, and I said, "Look, I'd really like to, as a souvenir, buy a couple of bottles. What's the oldest you have?" And they whipped out a 96 and a 97. So I still got the 96 here, probably for another day. But yeah, so I'm super excited, Randy. This is great. I love it. So here's obviously, you made the offer to me, and we did a deal within probably a couple minutes, right?
Very quickly, yes.
Very quick, yeah, very quick. So I do deals for a living, but the key thing here for me is I invest in people. Props to Jordan, by the way. This is amazing. So the reality of it is, Randy, I've liked your channel for a long time. I think you do a phenomenal job with your style. Your style is very different, very unique. You have a casual style. You're very much, you're very respectful, but at the same time, you've got, your true definition of a degen, right? Which kind of fits the whole crypto mold. You're very likable too. So you have a very, very good following. You have good followership, and I love that followership. And obviously, some people don't like you, and not everybody needs to like you. And they may not like you for reasons that they're probably right about, or they're wrong about, or whatever it is. Doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
So, but to me, that's a very unique skill set. And when I look at, you're a believer in VeVe and OMI. I'm a big believer in VeVe and OMI, both. So look, if you follow that train of thought through, VeVe and OMI are successful. You're very successful.
Thank you.
Because you A, have the OMI, B, you have the channel, C, you've got the followership. By the way, let me pour myself something here.
Oh yeah. Yeah, get that bread. Mm. Hi, Sleeping.
It's a really old wine, so I gotta air it out, man.
Of course.
But anyway, shout out to Stan Bukasis first. He's the guy who built both these lamps, and he sent them to me. So I love this, both lamps, the Ecomi lamp as well as the Red O. They're spectacular. I bought a bunch. Actually, I'm gifting Jordan one, and I've gifted a couple of other guys as well. So I ordered 10 of them, and I've put them in some packages for people. Might get some more too. And then Jay Green as well. Jay Green custom made some pins. I bought 100 of them, which I'm putting in the Ecomi SR hats, so these hats as well. But look, when you think about VeVe and Ecomi being successful, this is like a no-brainer, right, towards it. And that's number one, right? So that was like an very easy decision. Yeah, I like this guy. I think he's very unique. Has a probability of success based on number of factors, many ways to win here. The second thing, for me, Randy, was, look, you're right, which is the point that you were making, which is, as someone that's in the VC space, as someone that's connected to different things, I like supporting different content creators. And I know we're going through a bear market, but I believe that I want to help, not just you, a lot of people, right? So I want to bring the content creators, all the content creators, no matter who you are, where you are, whether you like me or dislike me, whether you like some things about me and dislike some things about it, doesn't matter. I want to create, some value for such content creators who've really been pretty selfless. And I think, specific to your channel, you're right. I believe that I'm going to go reach out to some people and figure out how to get some sponsorships. And maybe this is a test case to show others that if you think strategically and you have the courage to go and put yourself out there and get some deals, And let's get some sponsorships done. I think it'd be a tremendous opportunity for the channel, of which I am now I will be a 10% kind of owner or whatever. And I'm not interested in. I don't know if the short term anything, materially changes my life or yours or whatever. But I think that over a period of time, we can build this channel into something that's tremendous. You've interviewed some amazing people. Rashid, right?
Rashid. Dr. Rashid Al Farooq.
Yeah, Dr. Rashid. You've interviewed him from Speedy Comics, amazing guy. You've interviewed Jerry Padawar. You've interviewed some incredible people. So you've got an amazing network of your own. And I can bring mine into your network too, and that's great. So it's super exciting, man. Cheers. Randy.
Cheers, mate. What I love about these types of things is the same way with any two companies that do any type of merger. Like, let's say Disney just bought 10% of Epic Games. Now granted, that was a $1.5 billion deal, but they did so in which that now Disney is not good at creating their own video games. That's why they used to have Square Enix build their Kingdom Hearts games, which were incredible. So now they could use Epic and what they're doing is they showed video of the rendering of their metaverse.
Yeah.
And the cross-pollination of existing clients is something that I love setting up. I love it when other companies do it. Definity just did that with I think One Trading, or Definity's spot. I don't know if this is their spot offering. Yeah, their spot pricing nobody can beat, and One Trading's Forex pricing, nobody can beat. So instead of competing against each other, they sign an agreement. They cross-pollinate. It's like some of the most beautiful things that.
Yeah.
When we work together. So obviously my network, which a good amount, go over all the podcasts and you'll be able to tell a good amount of them. We are very, I'm very public, but I don't really know a ton of yours. I mean, I know a ton of yours that you bring into the VeVe fam.
Oh, hardly anything. I don't think any of my main network is coming to VeVe or OMI's yet. It's not. A lot of them have heard of it, but not right.
Yeah, but that's the underlying, and that's the common denominator where that's how we're connected, and that's how some of the people that I got, are connected to. But what other things do they have in common? Like what I imagine we have some of the same contacts and some of the same social circles, whether it be politics or business or just energy and oil, like art, high-end art. So that's what I'm really excited for as well. The merging of these two worlds, many of them very different, can be really cool. And I love setting people up, obviously for good things. So if we go and we connect two people and they solve problems for each other, they're going to remember us, and when they make it big, and they're gonna Sleeping wants.
Yeah, hey Sleeping, how are you, man? It's always great, man. Sleep until late, brother. The deal was that I'm the only guy in.
Yeah, there's once this deal is done, no other people. And I had my lawyer put that in the contract that I will not sell any more of my channel to anyone else.
Yeah. Cheers. Here's a couple of things. So you brought up a couple of great points. So I'm in a couple of different spaces. So one is I work in private equity. So I work with guys who buy billion-dollar companies, and their world is very different. A lot of them, I don't know if, I'm not super close to them. I've worked with them extensively, but that's a very professional business relationship. At some point in the future, maybe if they decide to go down more of a blockchain path and this becomes interesting, I'll bring them in. The venture capital part on the other side is a very, very interesting space. So I'm an LP, a limited partner with a number of VC firms. So I put some money up, invested directly in a couple of companies as well. And so that world is very interesting. A lot of them, both sides, the people that run the VC firms, as well as the people who co-invest with me in these companies, they're all, different types of people. So those people, like some of them are chief product officers, chief digital officer, CEOs of different companies. These all guys, well-to-do. They write these 10 to 25K checks, 50K checks to different companies, and they have a portfolio and a basket of companies. So those guys, absolutely, a lot of them, want to bring them on. And then beyond that, there's this whole sort of circle of professional friends and contacts that I've had from the last 25 years. People from Amazon, people from Visa, a lot of them, like the guy who is the chief product officer for crypto.com is somebody that I used to work with quite closely. A lot of these people, I'd love to bring them on the channel. And the guy who used to be chief risk officer of PayPal, and he's now the CIO for JP Morgan Chase. He's my high school buddy, man.
Cool.
He's my high school buddy. So we used to, when I left the Bay Area, we had lunch together, the four people, So there are a few friends like that, and they're very deep into crypto. They understand blockchain. I mean, the guy's the chief risk officer for blockchain. He kind of gets it. But yeah, a couple of these guys, so I'd love to bring them on, Randy, as well, onto the channel and stuff like that at different points in time and get different perspectives. I'm not sure, they're OMI guys or they'll get into something like an OMI or something. Never say never, but yeah, they'll be great kind of people to chat with you and stuff. And then art. I think you brought up a different point, right? Look, I love art, man. I just there's so much art in my house, and I love hanging out with different types of artists. Ron English is one of my favorites. Ron was here, man. Ron was in this crib, What a wonderful time with a whole bunch of the VV fam. I hope to have some others as well. Mumbat, Jason Naylor, Allison Bamcat, Jermaine. If they ever come out of Dallas, I'd love to have them in my crib as well. And I love to collect a lot of the artwork, but to have them involved with this would be great as well. So yeah, looking forward to it, man. I think this is amazing. We'll see where it goes. It's literally day one, right? I'm super excited. I just want to drink today, man. I don't want to overthink it. We'll kind of take it how it goes.
Yeah, I can't wait for you to meet Steve Cannon. He did one of the giveaways in the Ecomi Secret Rare group with I think Dr. Stuff was the winner.
Oh, I know Steve. Steve and I have been chatting. In fact, Steve's hit me up for a couple of deals as well. So I'm looking at a couple of deals that he's sponsoring and coordinating. He's an amazing photographer. I love the giveaway that he did. Hopefully he does some artwork for us as well. I'd love to. That piece behind you is his, right? Is that right?
Yeah. It's a 1 of 3. Normally he does like 1 of 9 or 1 of 11.
Yeah, cool.
And normally his stuff goes for like 20, 25K, but this they're doing for 15K because you get the NFT with it. So there's another one that somebody else bought, but there is one left. So if you find a buyer, we'll give you a finder's fee. We'll get you a commission check.
Yeah. So a couple of people. Look, Steve's new to me. I'm exploring Steve's work, but the guy that some of the guys that I've kind of been around familiar with is Fabriks. I have lots and lots of Fabriks work. Mm-hmm. Have you seen the one-of-one that Fabriks gifted me?
Is that the one that you showed on the stream with me and Jordan?
I don't remember. The one with the basketball, the basketball players, African basketball.
I don't think it was basketball players that you had showed. You had showed something where I forget what it was.
What color was it?
Yeah. It was. Oh no, it wasn't basketball. It was this.
No, that's different. Let me show you Let me show you this piece. So it's an award-winning piece that Fabriks gifted me. Let me pull it up.
Let's see. Thanks, Sketchlab. I tried.
A spectacular piece.
Oh, that's One. So there's 5 people on there total, because I think 4 in the background. But then it looks like there are people in color
playing basketball.
Yeah.
What a beautiful piece, man! Just love this piece. Yeah. So, but like Fabrics is big in the blockchain too. So what?
I wonder what he thinks of Caitlin Clark. I gotta go ask him about that. Oh, Mr. Planet Profit. No. Give him the money. Evaluate the King Randy. Oh yeah, we once we get the contract done, we'll do it. So you mentioned before you were watching some of the finals.
No, sorry. Before we finish that, Fabrics, Jag, these guys, man, they're artists. They're in the blockchain. They mint stuff. They get crypto very, very well. Jag actually does a lot of crypto type artwork as well. I have some of Jag's pieces too. That's upstairs. So anyway, but yeah, we gotta get them all on. We gotta get them all on. And these that intersect of art and crypto through the blockchain is incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And only
I
to
love
NFT,
art.
brother. That only to NFT thing is what I'm looking forward to.
Oh, dude, the way they've been teasing it and the way they've been, getting on exchanges, it's got to be before the end of Q3. So I would say in the next couple months we get that. I think that goes really hard. Especially if they can put in some type of burning mechanism. So that makes it even better. But yeah, I love art. I just had Gary Baseman on the podcast. That was so much fun. I wish I had him on for longer. I could probably get him on again at some point.
I finished that set. I don't
You got the secret rare?
I mean, I bought it.
Yeah.
I bought it when it was cheap. When people didn't, realize.
Oh, it was like 160, 170.
Yeah. So I picked it up super cheap. Like for me, I love artwork and Gary's work. I don't have much of Gary's work, but this piece, I said, okay, let me get it. The VV, the whole VV symbolism part was very interesting.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
So I don't know how. Oh, you said you haven't gone too deep. Obviously, everyone knows Toby because he's been on the app for like 2-3 years now.
Of course.
In his, I think it was like 2013. He had put a picture, or he had taken a picture of Toby in the Vatican, and literally like 6 hours later, the Pope died, and it was just like, it was it was wild time. He does a bunch of crazy stuff. I love like all of his stuff.
You met him IRL, right?
Yeah, I met him in 2022. We went to lunch with David and a whale buddy of mine, and he was just cool. We chatted for a while. He did a drawing while we were eating, which was really cool to give to my friend. And so we've stayed friends for a while. I text him every now and then when like Clever Jerk has like a really cool, he got all the Tobys, and I think somebody just got the Aru number 77, which was it was Phil Duong who got the number 77, all of the Arus, which is an incredible.
Cool, man. That's a good set. That's a fantastic set. I like that set, and especially the blue one, the sticker with the VV on it. Stuff like that. By the way, do you know which is the only transport on the app that has VV on it? Jaco, how are you, brother? There you go.
There's a legend. Wait, only transport?
Yeah, which is the only transport on the VV app, vehicle or anything that has VV on it. It's a VV branded transport.
Is it one of the? I have no idea. I don't even want to guess.
It's the Mecca that Frank Kozik did, the blue one.
Oh yeah, there's 5 of them.
Right? That's the VV, Mecca. It's very cool, man. That's another one. I miss Frank, man. I gotta tell you, I miss Frank, man.
Oh, dude, same. Love him.
We missed his sort of 1 year kind of since passing thing. It was in May, but Frank was very special, man. He was a very, very special artist. I mean, just his work was spectacular. I still remember I ran that space. It was a space that I ran with Frank the days the last drop on VV when he was alive happened. and he explained the whole story of all the, Labradors and all of the pilots and the hangar and everything else that he had a vision to finish. I hope Jermaine gets it done. I hope Jermaine kind of takes that vision, follows through on it, and maybe some of it is stuff. But yeah, man, that would be awesome. Before we go down the art path, have you interviewed any of the Stacker guys?
I was supposed to interview Anthony Duca. They've been extremely busy.
Not Stacker. That's
Kevin.
Oh,
he's cavernous. I'm so sorry.
Randy, I'm drinking. You're not. What the hell?
I'm just. I worked out a lot today, so my blood is not in my brain. It's
all right.
I don't think I've interviewed the Stacker guys. No. I think after certain things happen and after certain things are done, Dr. Prophet will allow one of them to do. Yeah, we'll do that.
I don't see any reason why they can't talk about the stuff they've already built. So I think amongst the interviews we should sort of get scheduled right away. Number one is the Stacker team. So I'll reach out to Dr. Prophet, see what's going on there. If we can get the Stacker guys out. Separately, I think when they do their next round of whatever they're launching, we can get Dr. Prophet out to give us an overview of how that whole thing fits in with VeVe and everything else, and OMI to NFT. And he's already done one interview with me on the Secret Rare Discord, talking about the whole base OMI thing. So that was a pretty interesting interview as well. So we're gonna get Dr. Prophet out, the Stacker guys out. Yeah, those would be great, man. And they have some real alpha,
They do, which is why I think, and again, I don't have any. I think in the next couple months they'll likely come on, and we can get him on, we can get everyone on. But yeah, we could reach out and then see what they say. I mean, maybe they do want to tease.
Yeah, and then how much base OMI do you have versus regular, the other OMI?
Most of it is on ETH still. However, after taking a look at how many new people are coming to base, and it seems that it would behoove the team to go in and do all the utilities and do everything with base OMI because it's cheaper, and that helps the consumer.
Oh, absolutely.
So I think by the end of the year, you probably have tens of billions of OMI on base, and I think that transition will happen slowly. It'll have that bell curve, and then all at once, and then it'll peter off. But that's likely what I'll see. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I like 80% of my OMI is on base.
Yeah.
And so I want to keep increasing that. Hey. So look, I had one more question for you, Randy. I think it's connected to what we're like. You and I have one more relationship outside of this. You do know that, right?
Oh, we have several.
You are a co-founder. You and Dr. Stuff are co-founders of the Ecomi SR Telegram, right?
Yes.
So that's another phenomenal group. I mean, when I think about the community, right? There's like two of them that really stand out, and maybe there's a third that I'm not just a part of, and I'm kind of still figuring out. But the VeVe Gold and Silver Logo group is one. You and I both in there. It's already somewhat established, right? We have events, and I'm negotiating a deal in San Diego for it. For the VeVe Gold and Silver logo. But for the Ecomi SR logo, I want to do something different, Randy. So what do you think? Like, the VeVe Gold and Silver logo, I think parties are going to be more art focused. They're going to be in art galleries. They're going to be, with a lot of artists. My vision is that, like a lot of our whales would, order some commissions. Like I'm part of a whale group, so we already talked about it. Yeah. So I'll do a couple of commissions. I'll order a couple of commissions from my favorite artists. They'll order some. And, so we'll kind of bring in those artists in a manner in which it promotes their art, it supports the artists, and it creates a lot of energy amongst the rest of the community too. So that'll go down that path. But that's not like your Ecomi SR logo path, right? Like the Ecomi SR logo path, I I don't know where I want to take it. You know what I mean? Like, but all I know is I want to do something very different, more crypto-like. But I don't, you know, that's where those ideas end. And I need some ideas, man. Like, what would you do? Like, okay, just for shits and giggles, what would you do with that group? Let's say money was no object. How would you set that up? Like, what would you plan for that group?
Well, if we already have the blueprint of the VV gold and silver logo of, okay, you need to have it as a not so high of an upper echelon that the normal person can't get in, but you'd want to have, I mean, that's really only contingent just on the price, but you already have the high end art on the gold and silver side. But taking a look at the people that are in both groups, and if you put that Venn diagram together, there is a good amount of overlap. But the difference between the two groups, the main difference that I could see is that the gold logo was given out for free, and that is, you see a bunch of people that are holding on to it because they recognize the value, they recognize, and I don't even not even talk about monetary value, but just but that's part of it. But the other part is just that communal family, that familial feel that not everybody is lucky enough to have. I think a lot of us think are pretty privileged in the fact that we're very lucky in our friends and that, you know, become family. But I think for the Ecomi Secret Rare, yes, you were technically given it for nothing, but it wasn't really nothing. You had to have bought or at least held 10 million OMI in your app. And yes, at the time, I think that would have been like $6,000-7,000, but not everybody bought at those levels. Most people bought at the, you know, higher levels. So those people were probably spending tens of thousands of dollars for it. And that shows in the people that are there. They are the top of their professions, and they're not in like okay fields. They're in very impressive fields. And shout out to Mr. 41 for giving us our
legend, man, legend, brother. Thank you very much, Mr. 41. Love you, brother. Thank you. You know,
congrats to both of you.
This man's amazing, man. This man's amazing. Yeah.
Buying a first celebratory drink. Thank you, Mr.
We'll have to buy him back as well. Mr. 41's coming out to New York Comic Con, and that'd be fun. Mr. 41, are you coming out to San Diego? Let me know if you're coming out to San Diego Comic Con, brother. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, he's not far from him, right? I mean, unless he's busy.
I could shoot him a message, but he has. He just the other day purchased his 5,000th collectible, and it was a number 41 Green Lantern. So
that brings such a freaking smile to my face, man. Cheers.
He's such a good egg. We love him. But on the, so going back to that, those people that they're all crazy intelligent and they're all hyper successful.
Yeah.
You have to imagine, in order to get to those levels, you have to have a little something extra to you. And I don't mean that in just a positive way, although it is. But a lot of those hyper successful people, they tend to have very different personalities. Some are very strong, and some are a little bit meeker, but they are different. And in order to try to find a balance of what I could do or what we should do for them, I think the first party, what I would do would be a mask party, something that I don't know if you've ever seen like any of those old school Austrian This way, the mask could be as revealing or as you can main that level.
I like it. I like that. That's the anonymity part of that whole crypto side is very important to recognize, observe, and celebrate. So I like that. I mean, we'll still check ID in that there'll be like a third party agency that will check, who's coming in and shit. But even that will kind of allow that with web IDs and stuff. Cheers, guys.
Drift. So Mr. 41 buys us our first drink, and Drifty says for the ice cube for that drink. So yeah, I think
I like that, Randy. So Randy, build on it. So first things first, anonymity, yes, mask type stuff. initially I was thinking we'd take a boat and go, right? So just take
Ooh.
a boat like in New York, Florida, and LA. So 3 events, right? Not tied to Comic-Con, got nothing to do with Comic-Con, right?
Yeah.
And we could tie it to Comic-Con this time, but it doesn't
Well,
have to be.
there is a cost. I've done these before. The cruises on the Hudson. They're usually not that expensive, but there's usually a lot of them. It's
Yeah,
the ones that I used to go on was called the cosplay cruise, where
yeah.
everyone would go on and you dress up in cosplay and you party and you dance and there's a lot of
Yeah.
alcohol involved. And they're fun. You pass by the Statue of Liberty, you go and have great pictures. And there's a couple different levels, at least of the boat that I was on. And there's a couple hundred people maybe, which might work out. So and the tickets for that event were I think like $40 a ticket, so they were pretty cheap. And again, with a couple hundred people, which we might have, that might be hard to get the people at one event. But I think as OMI goes up, a lot of these people will be like, yeah, I'll fly in for that. That sounds great.
Well, it's interesting. The last company that I ran, one of the things we did was we took all the employees out for hey, Thomas, how's it going? So we took all the employees out. So, it's not a very big company. It was about 160-ish, employees with spouses, maybe might come to about 230 or something like that. A lot of younger people. But basically, I chartered a Boeing 747 and and took the whole company with spouses out to Turks and Caicos for 4 days, which was amazing. So we took off from here. The plane took off from DFW, regular gate and whatever. It's a charter plane, and then we all went and had a really good time. Now we don't have to do 250 people. We can do a smaller group, a smaller plane, and a smaller trip, maybe 2 days or something. just a weekend trip. And pick a place, right? So we obviously can run that, and that would be pretty fun. I mean, we'll see how many people are interested and all that good stuff. That would be one. That might be at a different price point, I guess, but that could be pretty fun. The other one, obviously, is the boat. We can just take a boat in Florida, in LA, New York, and maybe one in Europe, right?
Yeah.
I think the Singapore, Australia crowd is too small right now, but hopefully someday, it's a bigger crowd. Yeah, and do that. That'd be pretty fun.
I'm game. There's a lot that we could do. Jayco says, you see the comic prices going up for the key.
Oh yeah, they are.
Says it wasn't me.
Well, it wasn't you, but it was the other fellow, right? What's his name?
It's a bunch of other fellows.
No, the guy who did the YouTube, right? The guy who came back after a long time. I forget his name.
Oh, the Modern Investor?
Modern Investor, right.
Yeah.
I mean, he drove up prices, man. Sometimes, you have to see other people admire what's under your nose to kind of realize, oh shit, that thing? I could have bought it for like $1, hundreds of them, right? Sometimes it does take an outsider to see things to create value. But anyway, all right. So that's a good idea. I mean, the other thing is sporting events, right? So we could do like they have, so we could get, they have like these bigger box. They're not like a box. It's more like a balcony, right? At these venues. So you get a balcony, which is probably about 50 to 60 people kind of thing. And it's like a big box, but, maybe we can get the whole damn thing. And then get everybody in, watch a game or something like that, and have like drinks and stuff like that. That'd be another one. That'd be pretty fun, I think. Sporting event. Anyway, I have some ideas. I mean, if anybody's listening and you have ideas on how to set up the Ecomi SR group in a different manner, that would be great. I'd love to kind of figure that out.
So I don't want to. I mean, I love to keep it, and this is obviously my interest. If there's sporting events are great, which I love, big male bonding moments. For anyone that does that. But there was a cruise that I was on December 22 with some girl, Brittany, and one of my favorite parts of the cruise was the there was different people entertaining each night. Like one, there was like a barbershop quartet. One was a guy playing chimes, and one was this four-piece orchestra:
Yeah.
violin, viola, a cello, and a bass. And it was, God, they played just some of the most beautiful music. And I know not everyone would be into that. I feel like that's probably a little bit boring to some people, but that was like, I played violin when I was younger, and that was just, I love that. Maybe that's not the best idea because that seems a little too uppity. It seems a little
Yeah, I don't
too.
know who, like, I was gonna say, we go to like a freaking Foo Fighters, concert or something, man. Some of that.
That's probably more fun.
That might be a little more fun. I don't know the dynamics of our group as well. I never looked at it. Oh, hey, how you doing, brother? Oh no, I didn't sleep, man. All these guys party.
Yeah.
So, what was it to say?
You said the dynamic. I mean, we could test it out,
No,
in October.
wait, the dynamic. So I don't know the composition of the Ecomi SR group in terms of male versus female. I think I know geographic diversity because I asked that question one time. And there's a lot more geographic diversity, meaning like a lot more international people in the Ecomi SR compared to the VV Gold Logo group. VV Gold Logo, because it's given in person, skews very mostly US, Western Europe, very little, David gave out a few logos in Asia, but skews very much that way. But Ecomi SR does not. It skews, it's much more diverse than the other one. But we should probably find out, the dynamics of kind of age range, high level, and gender and stuff like that. So that might help us plan a little bit. So those could be good surveys we run. But yeah, man, that should be fun. Randy, I mean, I want to do it thoughtfully. I don't want to just throw another party. You know what I mean? Every event has to be special.
Yeah. I mean, this is why we talk about it, because at first, in my head, that idea of going to like an orchestra concert sounded great, but again, when I said it out loud, like, okay, that might be a little boring. So that's why we brainstorm.
Hey, so tell me about these two guys, Pro the Doge and Andre Jik. Now, I know who Andre Jik is. I've not followed his content very much, but I do know he's sort of a financial kind of a guy. Can you tell me a little bit more about these two guys? And they're both in the VV Gold Logo group, right?
Yep.
But they're not
we got
the Ecomi SR group, which should be the one that they should be in, right?
they have so for Pro the Doge got in there first. I had interviewed him maybe, I don't know, like a month or so before he got in, and we talked on the interview for maybe an hour and a half, and then we talked off camera for another hour and a half. It turns out we have a bunch of the same friends, and we like a lot of the same things. So if you can't tell by the name, he was worth maybe a couple 100,000 X amount of years ago, put it all into Doge,
I
was
know a
worth
story.
millions. Yeah, up at the top. He didn't sell, but then he got such a big following. He can make a pretty decent penny just from his following, and just people send him tokens, be like, hey, don't, you can, just hold this token. We're not gonna
He's a
charge
movie
you
too,
for
right?
it.
He's a movie out too, or a documentary or something, right? So he probably gets paid
Yeah,
on that.
he just had one, I think, on Amazon, and it shows
Yeah.
VeVe in it as well, which is
Yeah.
really cool. And then when a logo came up that had no it had no redemptions, meaning that all of the things could still be redeemed. I was like,
Yeah.
hey, there's this one at the floor. You can get all these redemptions, likely at San Diego. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then he said, like, hey, if another one comes up, let me know, like for Andre. I was like, okay, we'll do. And then on Super Bowl Sunday, one came up, and I told him, like, hey, there's one like here. The teller was like, okay, great. Me and Andre had spoken a couple times before, but we're like, I don't have like his number or anything. We don't really talk,
Yeah.
but we talked once on Instagram when he first got into OMI. I was like, hey, this is really great. I'm gonna have any questions. Like, yeah, thank you and congrats. And then he was on the podcast like X amount of months later.
Yeah.
So as far as I know, they've both never sold their OMI. They've put in quite a bit into it,
Yeah.
and but Andre's more traditional, whereas Pro the Doge is like absolute degen, going crazy on all these meme coins. Andre has, I imagine, a maxed out 401k. I imagine that like he made his money just from that traditional finance. So for him to go in and still be open to NFTs like he is with VeVe and spending what he spent on them, same with OMI, I think is really, really big. And he'll be handsomely rewarded for that as, stuff continues to go. But that's them. They're cool. They're all really chill. They've never been any type of disrespectful to me or at any point. Even like the haters that they would get like online, they kind of just like, hey, hope you have a good night. They seem really cool. Granted, I've never met either of them in person. So maybe there's a little bit of a differential there, but for the most part, I think they're cool. Pro the Doge is going to come to the movie night, so everyone will see him. If they're not going to the con, he'll be going to.
Oh, he'll be there at the event, the movie
at the
event?
Deadpool 3 movie night.
Yes. Oh, that's pretty cool, man. That's pretty awesome.
Andre may or may not go. I know Andre will go to one of the VeVe parties where you can do the redemptions, so he'll go to that. Along with Pro the Doge. I don't know if he'll go to the movie night or not. But they should go to the parties.
It'd be good to connect with these guys, man. Like, they're super big guys. I gotta reach out to Josh Emmett to see if he's coming out. Josh and his wife, Vanessa, are both.
Yeah, I messaged him before. He hasn't gotten back to me, so I'll.
Yeah,
if he's coming, then
I'll find out. Obviously, it depends on his schedule and stuff like that. But it was great catching up with him and his wife in Auxerre. That was fun, man. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Randy on violin. Wow, Untold Story. Yeah. I can still play too a little bit. I went over to my friend Dan's a couple months ago, and his daughter was playing. Like she got it. I was like, oh, so I messed around with the fiddle, and it was good. Like, oh wow, I didn't know you played it. Yeah. Omar says sounds like Titanic, right?
Yeah, for me, Randy, I have to share this with you, man. So most of the companies that I run, I have like a wine refrigerator in my office with a couple hundred bottles of wine and some glasses of stuff. And usually on Thursdays or Fridays after 4 or 5, I'll crack open a bottle. So whoever's in my office, or sometimes we'll have an event or something like that. People come into my office and we have a glass of wine and stuff. It's a good way. And I usually do it with people that when you're CEO, you got to make tough decisions. You want to smooth things over, right? So I have a lot of these people come over. So it's like, you kind of bury the hatchet kind of thing with a lot of people, right? Any kind of ill will kind of thing, right? So now that, granted, I have only 10%, Randy, but what we can do is we can figure out, one day every month or one day every 2 weeks or whatever, where we just sit and chat, man. We can sit and chat and, we can keep half the stream public or part of the stream public and part of the stream private. And we can chat about the state of the state, man.
Yeah.
Right? So we can figure out, hey, what's going on? What are your ideas? What are some things that, we need to get done? And what are some areas I can help you with? And yeah, that'd be fun, man. And you drive that, man. You tell me.
Yeah. So part of what I think I've really started to thrive in the last year or so is just bringing people together, and those connections. I love doing it, and two, I like being responsible for other people's successes, and I like being responsible for, if you help people make money, trust and friendship follow very closely. And I guess it's just a short way. It's just like I like friends, and I like that good feel. I like serotonin dump, but also the ability to have access to a certain amount of capital. Now I can make some deals go through, and I've done that for a couple clients where you have somebody saying like, "Hey, I need a capital infusion. Okay, what type of deal can we work out at what type of discount?" And just that instant hey, get X amount of, whether it's percentage of a company or percentage of tokens, and then suddenly when you sign a deal and you're already in the black as soon as you sign,
Yeah.
is also another. So I think, I see a bunch of opportunities out there, and obviously I have very limited funds for like myself, but the other other people that I help do good deals on, uh, and it doesn't have to be just in crypto. I see it in the AI sector right now.
Yeah.
How familiar are you with AI?
I mean, reasonably familiar, I would say. I mean, I put my first AI application in place in 2011, man.
Okay. So yes, you are
Yeah.
likely very familiar.
Yeah, I
With
mean, my team used to run a score on every Visa transaction, which is on a neural net, and I put in a cognitive um, app and feature in 2017. So yeah, quite familiar, man.
So I guess that's something I want your opinion on, because I
Yeah,
think that a general statement can be made that right now we're experiencing like kind of the first AI like bubble, maybe a mini bubble, and I think a lot of it's due to a lot of these accelerated expectations that the public market investors had for public
yeah,
market, technology stocks.
yeah,
And I think that now that you had OpenAI, get like majority share, and there's a little bit of reckoning that perhaps maybe that at some margin level, the pace that the folks of AI in Silicon Valley had modeled is not going to be the pace of what actually is what come to pass. Um, I think also saw that with a little bit of Apple's AI, or their Apple AI, their Apple Intelligence that they rolled out recently. I don't know if you saw any of that.
yeah.
Um, I think it's going to cause a little bit of a setback for a couple of companies, and I think there's an opportunity to short a couple of things here. I mean, GDP just is slowing down as well. Yeah, I had something come out last week, a study that's showing like, hey, we're under like 2% growth. There's going to be reduced conversions, going to be reduced spending. Yeah, so I feel like there's opportunities everywhere. And normally I don't like to make a lot of money by shorting a company. I wish I would have done that with Nikola years ago. I was spot on with them.
Which one?
But Nikola. So Nikola, it wasn't an AI company. It was an electric vehicle company.
No, I know that. I know which company you're talking about. I know that one.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I knew immediately from like the first
yeah.
commercial, from like the first interview that the CEO had done. I was like, there's no way they're doing any of this. This is not adding up. He sold X amount of millions of dollars worth of shares, and he claimed it was so he could feel comfortable, but he buys Apple. I was like,
Yeah.
there's no way these engineers are doing this. And I was spot on. I was right. I wish I would have shorted. I would have made hundreds of thousands. Because and the reason I knew that is because I was all in on Tesla, and I knew exactly what Tesla was doing and what could be done. And I see that now, with not that I'm all in on any type of AI, but I have a few friends that work in the field, and I can tell the lion's share is being really gobbled up by Sam Altman, and then now by Apple.
Yeah.
And I think there'll be more opportunity once this little bubble pops, and once you have these setbacks. But maybe I'm interpreting it wrong. Maybe this is the one thing, or this is one of the things that I might be wrong about. Tell me what you see in AI.
So a couple of things. AI is one of those things where there's a couple of types of AI. It's important to understand the different types of AI, and then there's also the ways in which it gets used. I think the whole Chat GPT, large language model, um, that part got people very excited. I think it has tremendous value and application and customer servicing and service and stuff like that, right? You can do so many things with it. And the problem is that a lot of people don't know how to deploy it properly. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And so the lack of knowing how to deploy it, I mean, the technology is very powerful. The technology can harness and yield a lot of results. And that, if you think about that part of it, I think there will be a lot of disenchantment around it until how it gets used. Hey, Melly, how's it going? But you probably heard the news then. But yeah, so I think that disenchantment will create a lot of winners and losers. And you're right in that, sure, hybrids are growing, and then, Tesla did well, but the others didn't. And I think you're going to see a similar flavor of that in the AI space as well. They're going to shake out where there's people who figure it out and people who don't figure out not just what it is, but how to use it, And then if you think about, AI, there's sort of the humans and how we interact with AI. And the next level of that is deep linking to complete forms and stuff like that, right? Right now, it's very surface level. You want something, you can ask and it gives, and even if you don't ask, it gives, and that kind of stuff. But if you go to sort of that next level where the data can be ingested and it'll complete certain tasks, right? The whole going from that AI that enables tasks and drives to certain outcomes. That to me is a very powerful technology. It's no different than, think about like when you're, an example that would be, sure, you call your home loan provider or you're applying for home loan and there's like this freaking chat assistant and it's AI enabled and stuff, right? But think of how AI can take all your documents and complete the home loan process for you, right? That's the next stage of it, the next evolution of when AI can perform more complex tasks and bring it together and complete it. And your whole mortgage process goes from not just chatting and this, that, and the other, and that form of AI, but more into the full completed tasks. And even when you apply for a loan, the whole banking system on the back end and all that stuff. I think that's a whole other piece. And then I think that if you look at sensors, I think sensors and IoT could not be as successful without AI, and that was holding IoT back, right? Like only the very sophisticated, like the Amazons of the world and weather companies and whatever, had like these sensors all over that were absorbing the data and using big data to kind of process it. But AI makes it easy, faster, cheaper for people like you and me to do stuff, right? Yes. So now, even small businesses would have the ability to use AI, like, servers. You make food, the food is ready, which order needs to go to which table, you can have a robot that takes it, right?
They have that in a Chinese food place near me. It's like a sushi, yeah.
I know. And then they also have the cart version of it, which is the less version where you can put it on it and it takes it automatically, but somebody else has to take it or whatever. But to me, those kind of applications will grow, and just using much more amount of sensors and sensors connected to that would be amazing. So there's a lot of opportunity. I mean, there'll be winners and losers based on who can deploy it, not based on whether the technology is powerful or not. And I think trying to judge the technology is sort of solving the wrong problem. It's about judging who can use that technology and for what use case and what's the highest value creation kind of thing from there. Like surgery, right? You can have a surgeon that looks at you, or if you can ingest some kind of sensors that then tell you everything that's inside your body without having to freaking take 500 tests, right?
Yeah.
Like there's so many things, man. There's so many things where you can solve it, so many problems can be solved like this. Yeah, so I'm super excited. I mean, I think you have to pick who the winners and losers are.
Agreed. So outside of AI, which I think will have, I would say, well, David wanted that in the VeVe'verse because this way you don't need to make certain characters, like let's say like Vision, from the Marvel Mighties. You don't need to make him an NPC with 3 lines of dialogue.
Yeah.
You can say like, hey, answer every question as if you're Vision from Marvel Comics, and that's an unlimited amount of time and unlimited amount of number of interactions that he can answer as, and you do that for each
Yeah.
character. What I would really want to see, if we're going to play with this here, is Magneto, who's a we have Magneto in the Marvel Mighties,
Yeah, of course.
and he's a Holocaust survivor. I really want to see him interact with Red Skull, who was or is a Nazi, and I really want to see that interaction. I want to see, like, what do they say to each other? Do they say anything? Is it just
Yeah.
on site, or they just fight?
Yeah.
Like, God, that would be so cool.
Yeah,
So-
I think, by the way, just pause on that, right?
Yeah.
What you brought up is an amazing opportunity. I think that's the next logical evolution for a lot of NFTs and stuff, right? If you think about all the NFTs we have, either they're static or they do one trick or two tricks, or you got to do something with it. What if you could use AI and technology to basically ask and there may be restrictions around or whatever, you can ask two Marvel characters, what is Marvel Snap, right? Marvel Snap is these characters who come and they fight and one wins, right? One loses, right? Was that Champions, Marvel Champions or whatever, right?
or Marvel Strike. There's so many of them.
Yeah, there's so many of them, right? But what if you have the ability to, with your voice or with text, to get your two, you have, let's say all your mighties are there, and you have a mighty, battle royale kind of thing, and they're fighting, right? And the animation of those things happens using AI, right? And those are all feasible, man, very, very feasible. They have to enable it. Take any of those Bored Apes, right? If you make that technology so easy where Bored Ape becomes like a 3D asset and is your assistant and does, hey, ape, whatever, call your ape whatever you want to, right? And say, hey, do this dance, or hey, give a speech on this, and this, or hey, give me a best celebration dance, or hey, do a backflip or a cartwheel or whatever, hey, do something. And every day you can get your NFT to do some 3D voice and action, and that's a clip, right? Now, to me, that would be amazing. That fits in with metaverses. Now you can go into your metaverse and you can have like a dog, right, with you, and you can tell your dog to do tricks, right? And I think they have this dog thing in a couple of the metaverses, but it's more like a one-off thing and nothing so special about it, right? It just follows you around. But they could kind of make all that. So I think those are pretty cool kind of things to us. There's another one, Randy, very simple business that's going to be very, very big, I believe. No financial advice, but the refinance business is going to boom. And it's going to be a big boom for a very long time. And here's why. The interest rates went up very quickly, very high, and stayed high, and have stayed high for a long time, and are expected to stay high for some more time. So for the entire duration, the higher the interest rate and the longer the duration of that thing creates this huge pent-up demand for a low interest rate, because people need to buy cars. They bought the cars. People have bought houses, at higher interest rates. They've just done it, especially housing, even if you think of long-term asset. When the interest rate starts dropping, people will refi multiple times. They'll refi from 8 to 6.5 and 6.5 to 4, right? Or 4.5. Yeah. And, obviously nobody knows exactly when the interest rate will start dropping and how low will it go and all that good stuff, and the rate at which it declines and stuff. But either which way, we've created this massive bubble of high interest rates, which is going to put very high demand for refi. So if you're in any kind of business, financial business, where, whether you're in a mortgage kind of, consultant or whatever else, that business is going to boom. Like, even if you have a digital business where you say refi, if you have a website which says refi with 3 different rates, even if they're, you're not the person doing the refi, somebody else is, but yours like a third-party marketplace, I think every one of them is going to make so much of money. It's going to be like shooting fish in a barrel. But anyway, anything tied to refi, any business that supports refi, enables refis, markets refis, does the
Yeah.
refi, processes the refi, services the refi, whatever. They're all going to be amazing businesses. I
Yeah.
think in 2025, 2026, maybe 27 as well.
We
And
could
yeah,
open up a bank. Or I mean, well, we don't have to open up a bank. To get a bank charter is really hard.
yeah, yeah. Maybe
We
fintech,
could.
banking as a service.
I mean, even if we're just the brokers for that, the amount of people that's going to do cash out refinances for their homes,
Yeah,
it's going to be bananas. Um, yeah, that's a good one. So when I was in the high risk lending business, we would do stuff like that where um, we would refinance them. Like let's say they had like a 9 month deal, we'd
yeah,
refinance them 6 months into it. They for an even bigger deal, the old
yeah,
loan pays off or the new loan pays off the old one. They net the
yeah,
difference, and it's and they we give them like a longer term, and they love it. And then but it's just we're already cashing out 100% of that old deal, and it's just and we do that in like 6 months. It was bananas. Um, we I would love to do something like that again. It's just in order to do that, that takes a lot of time to
yeah,
go in through the bank statements. That goes in through
yeah.
the talk to them on the phone. It takes a couple days, and but I have friends that still do it, and I'd likely go in and say like, hey, you
Yeah.
guys are really good at this. You do X amount of millions per year in funding. I'd like to give them, like $1 million or so, and just like, hey, if you're going to get 24.99% a year, give me like 15% per year, and then you keep the other 10%. And this way, they get more capital to do other deals that they would have to shop
Yeah.
out.
You don't want
Um,
balance sheet risk, man. You don't
I-
want balance sheet risk. You don't want balance sheet risk. You want to be the middleman brokering these things, and you get your commission for it. So the more volume that flows through it, you make your money and you run. You know.
the the issue with that is that if you do like a Punnett square chart, and if you do a lot of small deals very quickly,
Yeah.
it can work out, and that's what you can do. A lot of times you do these small deals, 30, 50K, for like, and you do them once or twice a week. Or even smaller deals. Like I've done deals like 10K or like 5K, like each week, multiple times. But that you are doing it high risk, where a lot of these people have 500 and 600 credit, and I don't really trust anyone else but myself to do those types of deals. I would trust them to do the longer types of deals with the slightly better credit. But then you have the another end of that chart, which you could do a lot of bigger deals at a much slower rate,
Yeah.
but which is fine. But again, a lot of these do take a lot of time, and I don't want to be working 40 hours a week, especially when I have the channel.
So
And that
let me
usually
tell you, so a couple of businesses that I know, right? So
yeah.
I won't give you the names, but there's a couple of businesses that they're called affiliates. What they
Mhm.
do is they get a list, mailing list, and send out emails. And whenever somebody applies for something, right, the home, whatever, or certain loan or whatever, they send that traffic to a bank or to a fintech. So they are like the front end, and they have small operations, big operations, mailing lists are small, large, whatever. Some of them have like a what do you call it, a website, right? And they do SEO, SEM. That's all they do. Basically, it's some kind of a website that says low rate homes or special homes, or get your refi done. Something or the other. They do something like that, right?
Yeah.
And they get traffic onto it. It's not very big, and they've got no business doing anything else. All they do is they have a website. They sometimes they create like 50 websites.
Yeah.
They flood the market with all these things, but the traffic that comes in, they literally, and on the back end, they have a deal, let's say with SoFi, or they have a deal with, some of the credit unions or whatever it is. They just send traffic. And the way it does, they have multiple pipes and they can send traffic to multiple places. And the beauty of that is, once you set it up, you're not doing shit. It
Yeah.
scales. You don't need that much capital. If you got 10 loans today, it flows, leads today, it flows through. If you have 500 leads, it flows through, and if you have 50,000 leads, it flows through, and your capital doesn't get blocked. And it's the royalty structure, right? Kind of thing. But anyway, hey, I gotta bounce. I have a start tomorrow.
Okay.
Relatively early start tomorrow. But Randy, cheers, man.
Cheers, man. I love you, bro. I'll answer some of the rest of these comments. Mr. 41 is attending San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. So that'll be great.
Amazing. Let's do it.
That's really likes the OMI live. That's the end of the comments, so we're good.
Yeah.
So we'll end it here. I love you, brother. Everyone say bye-bye to Dashi.
Bye.
Dashi.
Good one. Cheers.